Hello, Dunatics!
We are the Blurred Sisterhood of Arrakis, and this is our official Dune movie review. Sorry for the delay, but there were two major problems we encountered in the recording of this video.
The first problem was after viewing the movie, we realized we needed a refresher of the source material. So we're going to start a book club. In January, we will review Book 1, Dune by Frank Herbert. More details to come.
The second problem we encountered was that we have so many in-depth and insightful commentaries that when we went to record it, it was too long. And so we went to the mountaintop. And there we received the official tablets.
Here are our pros and cons of the new Dune movie.
Pro number one. Before the cameras even roll, a movie lives or dies by casting. The casting director of Dune is awesome. She did an insightful and amazing job, especially casting Chani. She did get some criticism about the lack of the MENA actors, but big thumbs up, big props for the casting of so many people of color. And using Sharon Duncan Brewster, just added another layer of complexity to the character of Liet Kynes.
There were so many amazing acting performances in this film. I love Timothée Chalamet as Paul, especially in the Gom Jabbar scene and in his spice-induced bad trip in the tent. I loved Oscar Isaac's stellar performance in Leto's death scene, and Baron Harkonnen's Stellan performance was restrained, masterful, and creepy in the best way.
I want to give big props to the writers and of course the director and the actors for being able to deliver the depth of closeness and love shown, especially between Paul and Leto, but also Paul and Duncan, Thufir, Gurney, and Yue, with brief scenes with dialogue that cut right to the heart of the matter. No sap, no drawn out exposition. It was perfect.
The tech was just about perfect. The cinematography is a dreamy offering that is both grand and intimate. Hans Zimmer's score could be a character on its own. It's that strong. It has the power to transport you to another place and time. It was both intimate and alien.
I love the depiction of the cultural groups, like the Fremen, the Spacing Guild, and my favorite, the Sardaukar. The Sardaukar are the Imperial military force, and they have their own planet, Salusa Secundus, where generations of soldiers evolve elaborate rituals like the one we see with the throat singing and the soldiers being anointed with blood.
There were so many small things that added big time to the tapestry of the movie. One was the desert mouse, the Muad'Dib, that is Paul's symbol that popped up from time to time. Also the ornithopters, their construction looking like some sort of spacey dragonfly, and the sounds that they made. I heard they used bugs to actually enhance that. And oh my gosh, how could I ever forget the creepy spider-human hybrid pet that the Harkonnens had. It's crazy.
I felt that the Lady Jessica's strength is quite underplayed. I guess it was to show and highlight her emotional side, but she is Bene Gesserit trained, yo. She's one of the badasses of the universe, and her training isn't accurately portrayed. Nor is how close she and Leto were, and how much he actually trusted her.
Arrakis did not seem hot enough. In the book, going outside without a still suit on could kill you. But they keep showing shots of Chani walking on the hot sand in flip-flops. The fact that Arrakis is almost uninhabitable is key to the heart of this story, and the harshness did not quite come through onto the big screen. Oh, and Chani, Moses called. He wants his flip-flops back.
So there were several things omitted from the movie that were in the book that I thought could have enhanced. First thing is that there was no mention of Paul being Mentat trained, on top of all his other training, just to show him as that awesome. Also missed Fade Rowther, but I understand we'll get him in part 2. Because Gurney is one of my favorite characters, I really missed his balisette playing and sensitive singing, and that ink-bind scar that he got at the hands of the Harkonnen on Giedi Prime. Moved with his emotions. I wish they had included that.
Okay, the omission of the banquet scene was it's a missed opportunity. It was a place where you could share some really vital information. One of the important keys was the meeting of Count Hazimir Fenring and Lady Margot. Lady Margot, who's also Bene Gesserit trained, and it showed in the book the subtle language that the Bene Gesserit had developed so that Lady Margot and Lady Jessica could speak. The banquet scene also gives a more accurate placement of the time the Atreides had been on Arrakis before they were attacked.
Portraying the Bene Gesserit accurately is vitally important to the telling of the story of Dune, because the Bene Gesserit are the power behind everything that happens in the Duneverse for thousands of years until Leto 2. They pull the puppet strings. The banquet scene would have been the perfect scene to depict this, and the decision to leave that scene out tells me that the filmmaking team did not understand how to accurately depict feminine power, and therefore missed the mark in their depiction of the Bene Gesserit.
And that brings us to the end. There were a few things I thought maybe could have enhanced the ending. One was the Worm Rider. I didn't think we needed that right then. It could have been a really robust scene in part 2. Also, I thought, and I read this in an article, and I agree, that the end could have moved up to when they got back to the Siege, had the fight with Jamis and Paul, and then done the naming ceremony with Paul. But the one thing that really, really griped me was Chani's ending line. It hit a cutesy chord with me that I just can't shake.
So that is a brief overview of our pros and cons, the things we liked and thought kind of missed the mark about the new Dune movie.
We'll be exploring each one of those points in depth at a further time.
And we will be doing the book club, so please remember, read the first quarter of book 1, because we'll be going through the books, all 6 of the Frank Herbert books. We'll do book 1 we'll be doing in January. We'll do Dune Messiah in February, and so on. So you want to read the first quarter of book 1 by January 10th, and then join us in our discussion of that chapter, of that section.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you can tune in for each one of those more in-depth discussions of each individual point on our pros and cons list. And most importantly, remember, the spice must flow.